Do you want to know how to teach your child manners and respect? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication, as well as how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about manners and respect. In this video, we're going to be talking about why manners are important, why people are struggling with disrespect in our current culture, and then what you can do to help your child learn and embrace manners and respect. So why are manners important? Well, we are social creatures. In fact, we are born into social groups. The first social group unit of society is the family. And we all need each other to thrive and to survive throughout our lives, which means we have to be able to work together. When a person is selfish, it shows that they don't want to work with other people. This could actually end up becoming a danger for them. If we're looking at the old times, let's think, cave people, and they're dealing with wild beasts and stuff like that. If they don't respect each other and think that they care about each other enough, then their very lives could be in danger. Well, the same today. If we don't have good bonds and good relationships with the people around us in our lives, then we don't have anyone to help us when we're in times of trouble, because we will have burnt those bridges. So having good manners ends up creating friendships, creating kinships, and this feeling of valuing each other. And then, of course, that lends itself to being able to respect each other, even if we happen to have differences with other people around us. So respect is a problem in our society because people don't fully understand it. When you respect someone, that means that you revere them even if you don't agree with them. So our society is very entitled when it comes to opinions right now. In society, many people think that you can't respect someone unless they do agree with you or share your same opinion. That's very unfortunate because we learn so many things from people who have differing opinions. That's the whole point of debate. That's the whole reason that people discuss bills and legislation, why court cases are even had, so that all of the opinions, views, facts, testimonies can be heard. But for some reason, socially, we do not want to interact with people who think or feel differently than we do about things happening around us, maybe in current events, maybe in the media, or just even certain ideologies. That's very sad. Then what happens is we create a society where disrespect becomes the normal. In fact, some people are congratulated for their attitude problems and for displaying disrespect to school teachers, parents, friends, colleagues, other people around them. In fact, we're even starting to make money on the back of disrespect. There's a lot of videos that are meant to breed disrespect in our society. There's even these places called anger rooms where people will go just to show ultimate disrespect and anger to someone behind their back. We spend a lot of time griping and complaining about other people. Those are also signs of disrespect. When you truly respect a person, you can say, I'm okay with the fact that they believe differently than me. I don't need to talk bad about them behind their back even. That's the ultimate sign of disrespect. You even respect a person more when you show your disrespect to their face than behind their back. When we do not respect each other and we cannot be open-minded enough to hear other people's opinions and to value that another person would have a different opinion than us and just value them as a person in general, our social fabric starts to fray and tear apart, and we start to feel alone, abandoned. More depression sets in. It's actually really bad for individuals, but it's also really bad for our society. When people feel like they're alone, they also feel like they can't solve their problems because they don't know how to talk things out. So it is super important to teach children proper manners and how to respect other people so that they can be more successful and even maybe healthy in their lives. So if you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know that everything here is about learning learning self-government. One of the key parts of learning self-government is being able to recognize who the people are around you and who you are. So years ago, when I wrote my main book, which is Parenting a House United, I assumed that people understood roles, meaning they understood who they were to each other and the value of those other people in their lives, especially family roles, since that's our most intimate and personal and important social unit in society. But you know what I found is that people had a hard time understanding roles, and it made it so they even struggled to implement some of the skills that were in this book. So I wrote this book called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. This book helps parents and children understand who they are to each other and how to improve their relationships by identifying their roles. Now, roles is not the same as responsibilities. It's actually more about who you are to each other than what you do for each other. So one thing that parents can do is they can teach their children who they are to each other, and they can make plans for good relationships. But another thing that they can do is teach them the skills that they need for success. When a person learns self-government, that means that they understand the cause and effect of any given situation, and they possess a knowledge of their own behavior so that they can control themselves. This means that they know how to give themselves instructions, know answers, accept consequences, self-correct, and self-regulate. They know how to disagree appropriately with other people as well. Those are all skills for self-government. And those 4 basic skills that I just mentioned are all talked about in these 4 children's books. The red book teaches following instructions. The green book teaches accepting no answers and criticism. The blue book teaches accepting consequences, which is vital for being able to learn self-government. And the purple book teaches disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns all 4 of those 4 basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. The gateway skill to self-government is the disagree appropriately skill. People absolutely love that skill, and it's because that skill is so good at disengaging the emotional part of the brain and engaging the prefrontal cortex, or the logical part of the brain. So when a person learns to disagree appropriately, they have to listen to what the other person has to say. That right there is respect and good manners. They have to wait for the other person to talk to them too, and then listen, and then express themselves, and then wait for the other person again. When a person learns to disagree appropriately, they look at the person, they keep a calm face, voice, and body. They say that they understand the other person's point of view, so they have to have listened. They share their point of view, then they listen to what the other person has to say. They say okay and drop the subject. This skill is not just for parents and teachers and children, but it's for everyone. In fact, this is just an adult skill for life. So when your child learns this skill, this should be able to help them with their friends and their siblings as well. Learning manners means learning how to care about another person. There are some people that don't have the tendency, or they're not wired to really think about what other people are thinking as often. Some people do care. If you're the type of a person who is extrinsically motivated, meaning you look at what the other people around you are doing and you try to please other people sometimes, or maybe try to accept responsibility for what other people may want you to do, then you know you probably are going to have an easier time learning manners and respect for others because you just care a little bit more. But if you're a type of person that just likes to have the last say, or always say something all of the time, or maybe you're the type of person that just because somebody tells you something, you immediately don't believe it at first, then you might be a type of person that's a questioner or a rebel. Those types of people are much more intrinsically motivated. Like, they're only going to do with what they want to do. They're inner motivated. And so they have a hard time caring about the other people. And it's not really that they don't fully care. They want to be loved and they want to have good relationships. They just don't see why they have to show that they care all the time, because they have other things on their mind that they want to get the answers to their questions taken care of, or they want action to be taken instead of caring about what somebody else is thinking or feeling at the time. If you are a parent that is trying to teach a child to have manners and respect, and you're one of those people that does care about others a lot, that's probably why this matters to you. If you are a parent or an adult that has a hard time with manners and respect yourself, then it could be that you've trained your child to behave that way. Obviously, A good example is important when you're teaching your children manners and respect, but you're probably going to have to do corrections sometimes and pre-teaching sometimes for what the proper manners should be. So remember, one of those other skills is following instructions. You'll want to pre-teach your children the proper instructions for good manners and good respect in a pre-teaching way. That's something that I talk about in my book, Parenting a House United. I also talk about how to do a correction if a child is not following instructions properly. So you want to teach them how you're going to do that and consistently follow through as well. It does take training to learn manners. Don't guilt your child if they have a moment where they have bad manners. Just explain to them that they weren't following the instruction and do a proper correction for that. Because manners take time to learn, and they have to be applied to a lot of different circumstances, and so people don't necessarily excel at them immediately. But don't worry, they'll learn them in time, especially with some good training and teaching. Now, after this video, you probably need a little extra help with some of these skills that I've been talking about, and I have a video that will help you start to learn some of the skills. It's a full-length class here on the channel called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Click on the link to that video now and you'll learn a lot more about teaching self-government as a method for parenting and the skills that you can learn for yourself and for your children that will lead to more self-government. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.